It's Robert Alaniz with my special guest, Jonny B. It's episode 58. This one is going to be about Gravel Road Music's release of In Concert.
A study of Elvis Presley.
A study of Elvis Presley in concert. It all started with this book, right?
Yeah.
This book came out in, it says 22 in the book, but when I looked it up online, it said 23. It's a really cool book. You know more about the history of Gravel Road than I do, so why don't you tell me what you know? I mean, you even told me before we started that they mostly start out with CDs,
Yeah, it's all
right?
CDs and jewel cases or digipacks, and then there's 4, I guess. That's what's pictured in the book. There's 4 of these.
Well, it has Love American Style, Vegas Rhythm, the Boston Garden, and then a study of Elvis Presley in concert. I was very, very impressed with this. I know we did the show on the 69 box. On that show, we talked about Gravel Road a bit and what they do there and the quality and how they like to really put together great packaging. I never really saw this book. I saw the other book because I believe there was a book that went with that box set too, which was The Prodigy, I guess.
Return of the Prodigy.
Return of the Prodigy. So when I got this book, I wanted to look it over and see what was in here. First of all, it comes with a CD of the concert, and we'll explain what's on the CD in a minute. Then it also has a DVD of the actual CBS TV special. And then, in addition, it also comes with this Blu-ray. I was literally blown away. I saw Elvis in concert when it aired back in '77. And I remember seeing it on a color TV and everything. And even back then, quality was always videotape quality. And back then, we never saw anything better than that. So to me, it looked great because it was on a color TV. But this, I played this on my TV, which is a 4K TV. I compared this to the Aloha from Hawaii Blu-ray. Remember there was a Blu-ray release? I compared the two. And this blew away Aloha from Hawaii. And I remember watching the Blu-ray and it looked really like a video. It's like they couldn't really make it any better. I think this is better than the Sony BMG release of Aloha from Hawaii. But anyway, it comes with this as well. So I would imagine the DVD is probably just as good. But anyway, you get both of those. And then, of course, it comes with the CD. This is from '77, and this is the original album. And it was a 2-record set. When the CBS TV special came out, Elvis had just died. And I think they were just terrified to show him the way he looked on that special. So right away, RCA said, okay, well, we've got these other shots, so we'll put this on there. And then on the back, I think that's from '72. Especially now that I've seen Epic.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that's from '72?
Yeah, I think it is.
The Blue Suit. Elvis died in August, and I believe this album came out in October, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, because the
special was October 3rd.
But when they put it together, what they did was the first album is basically the show, the CBS TV special, and it has all of the fan comments during the show. So it's almost like they just took the audio from the special and put it on record 1. Now, on the second album are all these other songs that for some reason RCA, or I should say CBS, decided they didn't want to use on the special. So what they did on this album is they took the best songs from the concerts, put them in the order of the original set list, mixed together in such a way where everything sounds like one show. You said you read the story about what happened, why this was delayed.
Well, according to this, like I said, they did 3 masters and they did 5 test pressings. That's why it was delayed and everything. Okay. And then it said they used something called a lacquer mastering instead of a direct metal, because it says the lacquer mastering has a richer, warmer sound to it.
This finally got released, what was it, just a few weeks ago, right? Or last month?
Yeah, within the month or so.
Because I know a lot of people have got it now, even on the Collecting the King group page, which is now up and running. I saw a couple people posted pictures of it already. So let's open this thing up and take a look at it, all right? Yeah. Now, I have to say, I like the fact that it's at the bottom. You know how the Jap sleeves, all our records are in Jap sleeves. Yeah. I call them Jap sleeves, Japanese sleeves, whatever. And we always seal them at the top, but this is kind of nice that it's at the bottom. It makes it a lot easier to come out. We are looking at one of the test pressings.
This is one of the, well, yeah, this is one that they gave away just recently. They had the contest.
But getting into the history of this, this is a test pressing that Gravel Road sent me to show what was done with the vinyl, and we'll get into that in a moment. But anyway, okay, so here is the front of the cover and the back of the cover. Now the cool thing is you'll notice the sticker.
Yeah, it was there. Oh, it's directly on the cover.
Yeah, the sticker is directly on the cover.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize.
Okay, and then you know what? I'm just going to let you open it. Oh, all right, since you haven't seen it, I've already seen it. So why don't you just go ahead and open it?
And of course, this is from the show. And hey, this is from the show. What a novel idea. Yeah. You know, it's actually from the show. Okay, let's take a look at it. Oh, here, why don't you take that? That's the poster.
Okay.
Wow. Well, I'm familiar with these pictures. I just saw the book, but this is pretty cool.
I was really impressed with those pictures because of the fact that, because of the way Elvis looked. And, you know, it's terrible, but a lot of the publicity photos from this TV special, they always pick the worst pictures of him.
Well, not only that, it's the quality of the paper. My God, you know, I mean, you know, the glossiness.
I know.
And this is not cheap. Look at how thick that is.
I know.
I mean, this is not cheap. You know, look at the difference in that.
I know. This is
holy mackerel.
Like thin.
All right, well, let's pull out
let's see here for a minute. Look, if you can see the difference in the spine.
And how thicker and everything.
Yeah, I don't know how much you can tell
Especially
there.
on the top, you probably, I mean,
on the top. Yeah.
This is heavyweight, you know, cardboard, first class. Okay, and then pull the first record. Wow, so again, unlike FTDs, there's something called an inner sleeve. Look at that. There's the first inner sleeve. This record has to be played loud. Wow, and then here's the back.
And aren't those tickets on that side?
Yeah, there's tickets on this side.
They show a couple tickets.
Omaha Civic Auditorium and the Rushmore Plaza Civic Center.
Here, let me take that one, and you can pull out the other one.
Pull out the other one. Well, wow, this is different too.
That's the picture you were talking about.
This is the picture I said that RCA should have used for this album.
Right.
And this should have been the cover.
Because that's not a bad picture.
No, that's a good.
That's a pretty good picture.
No, he looks terrific.
I mean, I think everybody knew he was overweight or he had health issues. Everybody knew that. If you had seen this show and had not known that Elvis died, right, and Elvis was still alive, you would have still loved the show. Even though the way
our view was tainted by it because of his death.
Right. When I saw him in '76 and '77, and both times I saw him, you know, he didn't look as thin or anything, but the concert was still great.
Yeah.
You know, he sounded good, and you know, I think it's because as a fan, if you love Elvis, you love Elvis. You don't care. It's like loving anything or anybody. You're going to overlook the flaws. The inner sleeve is great. I mean, this blows away FTD too, because you know, you think about it. If in shipping, because you get these things shipped from Europe most of the time here in the U.S., the record has to split through here and here.
Yeah.
So the odds of it actually splitting the cover are zero because of the strength of these inner sleeves. So not only that, but there's another sleeve inside.
Yeah,
too. So there's a sleeve there. It's like double packed on the inside.
And if you really want to know about the vinyl pressing, there's a great write up here about pure the sound. It talks about pure vinyl, precision pressing, excellent service, smoothness. This is 180 gram. Remember, you
were
180
grams
too, but it's 180. But there's a whole write up down here that tells you about what they did and everything.
It comes with these two badges. We don't need no stinking badges.
And of course, they're randomly inserted.
And there's two badges. The reproductions look good, but there's a little. They're not sticky, so they can't be passed off. Because I even mentioned to Gravel Road, I said, well, you know, weren't you concerned when you did these that, you know, people are then going to put them on eBay or something and pass them off as originals? He says, no, because the backings.
Yeah, it's just
we purposely did not do that. We purposely made them as reproductions.
In the article, in his interview, he said they were a pain in the ass. That's what he said if they had known what, you know, that the technology, because the technology is totally different today than back then. You know, and it was hard to reproduce it. You know, I didn't even realize, because of environment and the chemicals and everything is so different today. You can't use, it's toxic or whatever from years ago. You know, they wanted to get them as close as they could. Obviously, like I said, the originals have something you peel off. Obviously, they were sticky. You stick it to your clothes.
And that would make the material different.
It was more like
a cloth.
A cloth, almost like a cloth.
Yeah, because I remember Al had several of these at one point.
He had them all.
He sold
all the colors.
He sold a lot of them at the shows in the past. But I remember they had kind of a cloth feel.
Yeah.
These do have that feel, kind of like it, which may have been what Gravel Road was going for.
He said even getting the colors were tough to reproduce, but they wanted to do them. So
and didn't you say it was kind of like, if he had known it was going to be all this trouble, he wouldn't even gone into this kind of trouble. He said they might not have even done
them once they went down that road, they wanted to finish them, and so they did. But they had to find the right printer to finally come up with these.
I have 2 round ones here, and I also have a pack of all. I guess there were 17 of these things made. But here's a complete set of all the passes with all colors. Purple and green, another green, a brown, blue. But see, there's round ones, but they also had the square ones. But here's the interesting point. I think he said that there were so many made that they decided, well, they were going to get these sets together. If you want the complete set, you can buy them as a set. I'm not sure what they sell for. I think maybe $50, $60, I don't know. But you can get the whole set. So anyway, I wanted to show you the set. And then getting back to these are the 2 that were in this copy. They're thrown in at random.
You'd never be able to buy enough to get them all. They just threw them in randomly. It's just cool that that's nice that they did that.
This is the other bonus element, and I really like this. I don't know where in the hell where he found this, but wow, look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, the bottom obviously is an advertisement for the book.
Yeah.
But that top poster,
I don't know if that was I don't know where that would have been. Where would that have been displayed?
I wonder, was it a magazine ad?
That I don't know.
You know how when the CBS, or not CBS, the NBC TV special aired?
Yeah.
Remember Life magazine?
Yeah.
Had a spread from Singer Presents?
Yeah.
And there was an ad specially made for it. So it came with the bonus poster and the badges. Now, I'll tell you what, we'll do it at the same time. I'll take one and you take one. So 2 record set. And then when you take the record out, you'll notice, first of all, it has an inner sleeve like this. But when you take it out,
wow, oh, this is definitely,
it's blue. These were like test pressings. There were only how many made?
About 10.
Then you said there was a contest where Gravel Road gave away one of these. All you had to do was guess the...
You had to guess the name of the Gravel Road from a television show, and that was Love American Style. For some reason that night I couldn't sleep, and I saw the contest. I'm very disappointed I didn't win. Because I bet I was the first one who answered at 3 in the morning. Love American Style.
But where was it, Australia? I mean, what country was it? 3 a.m. It might have been 3 a.m.
Well,
here.
it was from Day by Day. No, it was from. Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying it was on the Elvis Day by Day site.
Okay, so it was the middle of the night.
Yeah, it was the middle of the night for me. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, and I sent in the answer.
My understanding is the reason these were test presses because Gravel Road has another release coming out.
It's the Arizona show.
It's the Elvis Presley USS Arizona Memorial Fund benefit show. That's going to be the next Gravel Road music release on vinyl. And when I asked him, well, why was he doing this? He was saying that something to the effect, and I hope I say this correctly, he said, I wanted the vinyl to kind of look like water, like blue water. So he said, when you hold it up against the light, and he's right, it's still clear, but it has like a blue, a light blue.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't really say blue. This isn't really blue vinyl.
It's supposed to match the water in Hawaii.
Right.
Like a blue, because the show is in Hawaii, so he wanted it to be,
Right.
you know, kind of like a bluish to represent the water. 'Cause
Right, exactly.
Hawaii is all surrounded by, it's an island, so it's
Exactly.
surrounded by water. So apparently,
Exactly.
it's the next is going to be pressed something like on this, maybe exactly like this. Then,
Well,
for
I
the
think
memorial.
so. So really,
rare.
from a collecting standpoint,
It's very rare.
wouldn't you say that this is obviously worth more than the clear
Of
vinyl?
course, there's only
right?
10 of them, supposedly.
If there's only
around
10,
10, that's according to the article, there was 10.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
it's pretty damn rare.
Okay, so that's
very nice.
the clear blue vinyl,
and then we have this
and then of course the original. You want to put them side by side to see what they look like?
There you go.
I do like the fact that he used the same font
Oh yeah, that's cool.
for in concert.
Yeah, yeah.
The only thing missing is Elvis.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
Well, the only difference is this has like a blue. It's not totally, because remember this one has like the blue in it.
There's blue in it.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that close. Oh, okay, yes, the same
Yeah,
exact
it's almost
thing.
identical.
Wow, it's identical. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
And the strip here too.
Yeah, that's kind of cool
That's
too.
cool too. That he
That's
used,
a lighter strip.
Yeah, he reproduced that.
Yeah, this is the
banner,
dark.
like a banner on the bottom.
So that's that. So you know what? We've gone this far. Let's open one of the other ones. Okay.
So you
All right.
can
Now this is a regular one. This is the way. So if you order it and everything, this is what you'll get. So it again opens from the bottom. We'll make this a lot quicker since we've already analyzed it once.
Let's just take
So
the
let's
record.
go
Let's
take
take
a
the
look.
record.
Let's just take a look at the vinyl.
You
So
can
it comes
show 'em.
out.
It's completely different.
Everything. Let's see what. Oh, look at it.
You got a square one in
You
there.
get square ones in here. There's a square one and
It'd actually be nice to have a square and a circle. Are they both square? Oh no, you got okay.
yeah,
yes,
square and a circle. So there's the bonus badges.
Missy's excited too.
Yep. Even
Missy's
my
excited, too.
cat is Missy
Miss.
is screaming.
Hi, she's coming to say hello.
What's up, Miss? Now, folks, here is the clear vinyl,
Yeah.
and there it is. You want to take a look at it?
Yeah. I like the blue better.
I know.
I would even like to ask him, why not just black? Why not just traditional black as opposed to like color, clear? I don't, it's like...
Did you see the new Paul McCartney releases?
Yeah.
I mean,
everything is...
they got 8 colored vinyls, I think. Isn't it 8 or 7? There's 8 colored vinyls.
Well,
But you know which one she's getting? The black.
Oh.
And you know why? Because the black one off of Paul McCartney's website is gatefold.
Oh.
The other ones are not gatefold. And when you open it up, it's got a beautiful montage of Paul McCartney and the Beatles and everything on the inside, colorful. But that, to me, that's going to be the one that's going to be worth the money.
I just wonder if there's a sound quality in black compared to clear.
No, I don't think so.
Or the color of any kind. If
No,
there's,
I don't
if there's,
think so.
If there's any kind of difference. That,
Somebody asked that before. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't
that's
think.
cool.
I don't think that's the case. But
Yeah.
that's it. Clear vinyl.
It's the clear vinyl, so.
Clear. Okay.
Well,
So that's what it
very
looks
nice. Like my mama used to say, there's 2 kinds of class: first class and no class. Mm-hmm. So,
like. And this would definitely be in the
his
first
products.
class.
Yeah, their Gravel wrote their product for their vinyl is first class. All the other companies could learn a lesson from them, even FTD.
That leads us into a real good part of the show I wanted to talk about. I collect Follow That Dreams, and I told him, I said, well, Follow That Dream is top bar to me.
I mean, I like the FTDs, don't get me wrong, but they're just not, FTD went cheap with the inner sleeves too, you know that. They stopped. When they first started, they had the inner sleeves, and then they went to the white paper sleeves.
This is really quality stuff. I mean, I've been collecting records for 50 years, and I can even remember some of the greatest albums. And you mentioned like the Japanese. I remember back in the 80s when I first saw Japanese records at a record show. I was like blown away. You open up the gatefold covers; they were thicker. They had a poster inside.
Posters,
they had booklets. The pictures were different, and I thought at that time that Japan was at the top of the bar, and it, you had to get up to Japan's quality, which I don't think RCA ever did.
No. RCA in America never could reproduce what the Japanese did.
Right, the Japanese
Never.
just kicked ass.
They
Period.
just blew it away.
So with that being said, this comes along, and after I saw the box, and when we pulled that album out, we're like, oh my God.
You want to hear the amazing thing about this? This retail is cheaper,
Right.
and you get this quality, and you get the badges, and you get a poster inside the boot, and it's 180 gram. Yeah.
Of course, that's not with shipping.
No, I'm just saying.
The money it costs to ship it, and I don't know about the tariffs and all that kind of stuff.
That's
but
a real
you got to
pain now,
pay
too.
that and everything. So it's expensive. I mean, even probably there are probably about like it's like a $100 album here in the United States if you added in all the shipping and everything, depending on how many copies you ordered or where you got it from. I know there's different places.
They want to do the Boston show, which they did a book of. Now, of course, that show has been out on CD by both FTD and MRS, a Memphis Recording Service.
Right.
And the Memphis Recording Service did do a vinyl, but I guarantee you when they do the vinyl, when Gravel Road does the vinyl of the Boston,
Well, not only that, but you have to look at the remixing aspect.
Yeah, that's
okay. Because I think there's a lot of care taken into the mastering of the sound. I mean, we were listening to the CD when you came over, and you can. My God, I mean, I listened to Elvis in concert, the old CD that came out in the '90s. Listen to it, I'm like, yeah. All the fans and everything, yeah. But then when I put this thing on, all of a sudden, you felt like you were in the concert. The girls, the backup singers were crystal clear. The instruments were crystal clear, and you could even tell that the audience seems like the volumes of the audience was adjusted to where it's not as loud and intrusive as it is in the regular release of Elvis in Concert from RCA.
Here's a suggestion. I would love to see you do the Aloha from Hawaii.
Well,
because if it was this quad, because I never liked that cover. I'm sorry. I always hated that. Not a picture from the show. Kind of like the in concert they put out. And it's not even a picture from the CBS TV special. So how about Aloha from Hawaii with this quality? There
has been boots of Aloha.
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw one not too long ago where somebody put out an Aloha boot.
Well, again, this has not been officially done by FTD or Sony since.
No, they haven't.
Because according to Ernst, Lisa Marie and Priscilla didn't want it. They didn't want to promote 77. So, there hasn't been... Now, I've heard FTD... I think we've heard FTD's working on In Concert.
Where can they get this?
Well, the two places is the London shop and the 50s store. There might be several others. You might be able to get it through Memphis Mansion as well. So Memphis Mansion might have it, but definitely the London shop and definitely the 50s store. Benny's, it's called Benny's 50s store. So you can order from there.
Okay.
And there may be some people selling it through eBay too. You might be able to find it on eBay too.
Right.
I looked this up at Benny's 50s and I could not find it. I did not see it. Now Juno Records might still have this on CD, and of course the London shop. I'd have to look. They might still have this available. But the vinyl, the vinyl is all. You can get the vinyl.
So for vinyl collectors, you definitely want to get this. For CD collectors, you want to get this. But and for the concert, if you want to see an excellent, and I mean an excellent recording or copy of this visually, this is it.
And don't forget, the 50th anniversary is coming of this, so don't be surprised if finally,
they do a box.
They're going to do a box. Sony's going to release something next year, maybe even though they haven't. But remember, now that Lisa's gone, unfortunately, and
she's
out of the picture.
Yeah, she's out of the picture.
We heard. There's a rumor. Somebody told you that FTD is working on Elvis.
That's
in
what
concert.
I heard, because it's going to be the 50th anniversary of that.
Out. I wouldn't be surprised if next year on October 3rd, CBS shows it on TV again. They might.
Wow. Well,
I don't know if that'll happen.
I don't know.
Now that they showed Elvis sitting at the piano singing Unchained Melody in the Elvis movie that Baz directed, at this point, what do you hide?
It's I said on the show, on the Epic review, we've seen Elvis every way that we've seen him, and because we're fans, older fans, we don't care what he looks like. So as I said to you before, If Elvis hadn't have died and that special had come out, people would have loved it. Sure, people would have said, "Oh, he doesn't look that great," but because he died, people looked at that show differently.
This is a great quote.
Okay.
This is on the back of the book. Okay, it says, "Elvis in concert is a historical document. It has to be seen and listened to so someone can understand the full Elvis story. This is the best. It's the Shakespearean final act of a great life." You know, I never really looked at it like that, but it was his final act, and it's important, even though it's visually a little tough to watch. But like I said, it's just part of the Elvis story. You cannot base Elvis's whole life and career, his whole life in total, based on just this one show. People have done that. Oh, well, he died when he was 42 and he died on the toilet. And that's their whole summation of his life.
I know.
I said, really? You're taking this great life and basing it on how he died? You can't judge Elvis on how he died. You have to judge Elvis on how he lived and his music and his legacy and what he gave us. I've spent hundreds of, I don't know how many thousands of hours I've listened. It's been the greatest joy of my life to hear this man sing.
You're talking 50 years, so that's 5 generations of young people who have grown up. Some of those people, unfortunately, were growing up around the time when everybody was making fun of him, saying the fat guy that died on the toilet.
Yeah.
So that's how they saw him. And they grew up hearing that. Yeah. That's all they heard. But Baz Luhrmann, and I don't care what anybody says, you know, thank God that Baz Luhrmann did that movie because he introduced Elvis to another generation. They know it didn't end well for him. They already saw a glimpse of what he looked like. So it's no secret no more.
No.
You know, I think today's generation can handle it. Yeah, he looks bad, but he sounds great, and he's still the king of rock and roll. He's still the king.
Like it even says in the book, his aura and his presence on stage and how powerful it was. I like that. You know, I'm looking at it differently. I like this, a study of Elvis Presley and Con. That's great.
And that's what the book is.
That's a great title.
I do want to thank Gravel Road for giving us this copy of the special pressing so that we could show it to you. I think it's cool, don't you? The blue.
Yeah, I think it's nice.
The blue vinyl. I think it's pretty neat.
Yeah, I'll give you $100 for it.
Wrapping things up, folks, I do want to mention again, and I'm very happy about this, the Collecting the King group page is doing really well. I think we're up to, the last time I looked, 81 people have joined, and I think there's some more people that joined today, and I wasn't able to put them on there because we were doing the show. But yeah, it's great, and I noticed too it's from a lot of different countries. So you know, there's things being seen around the world. You know, I still haven't seen anybody from Japan yet. Really? I wonder if we're ever going to get somebody watching the show from Japan. If you have not joined the Collecting the King group page, it's up and running. It's a lot of fun because a lot of people are posting items from their collection, which is great. And for me, what's great is I get to talk to you guys. You know, here I do the show, it's locked in, and once I make a mistake, which Mike Butcher and Walt Pierre love to point out, thank you very much, although nobody said anything about the mistake, my misspell of Fun in Acapulco. That was a misspell. I know you saw it.
I didn't notice it.
So if you haven't joined it yet, join the Collecting the King group page on Facebook. We will be at the Chicagoland Record Collectors Show, which is Sunday, May 17th at the Countryside Banquet and Conference Center in Countryside, Illinois. This is so hard to talk about. In 1988, when I did my very first show in Memphis at the Holiday Inn on Brooks Road, I met people from all around the world. One of my favorite people was Chris Guiles. I really liked him because he was very, very jovial, a big guy. I remember he had tattoos on his arms and everything. He was just very funny. I could tell he loved Elvis, and he loved collecting Elvis. And we kind of developed a buyer-seller relationship for quite a while, but it all started in 1988. Throughout the years, I got to know him better and better. He knew a lot about foreign albums, and I didn't know much about foreign albums. So Chris kind of taught me a lot about foreign releases, especially from England, things I didn't know nothing about. I remember one time somebody had some Elvis albums from Canada, and they were all like, you know, sealed or you know, perfect condition and everything. And I remember saying to Chris, I says, so Chris, how come you're not jumping on these albums from Canada? And he kind of looked at me and goes, well, they're from Canada. I don't know why, but ever since he said that, I see a Canadian album and I just pass on it. Every time. I always see them. You know, I was just at a record store not too long ago, and they had a bunch of Canadian albums, and Chris's voice came in my head. They're from Canada. All due respect to Canadian collectors and Canada, it was just you know, I guess it was just his way of saying, you know, U.S. pressings are what a lot of the foreigners are going after because Elvis was from the United States. I'm pretty sure that's what he meant. But it was always one of my favorite things he said, and I always remember it, and I always will remember it. Just got the terrible news that Chris had passed away. We're filming this a few days after he died. I don't know much of the details behind it. I saw the announcement on Facebook that his daughter had posted. He was a big, big part of collecting. It's sad.
You know what I like the best about Chris? We'd go to his room to look at the CDs. You know, he all laid out on the bed. You know what I liked? His honesty. He would say, you'd point something out, he'd say, don't buy that. That's a piece of crap. Don't buy. You know, he would tell you the ones to buy.
Yep.
Because he listened to him and he knew and so he was honest. You know, we could have just bought anything and taken it home and said, oh God, this is an audience record, it's terrible. But he would always point out, get this, those are junk. He would bring them. But it was funny that he would just be honest and tell you. So my condolences to his daughter, his family. He was a good guy. We were talking about, well, the 50th's coming up, and we hope everybody we know is going to be there for the 50th.
Yeah, and he was on the list.
You know, I
kept saying
we were hoping to see him again on the 50th, and hoping like I said, that everybody would be there. And now, sadly, there's the first one we know, you know, that won't be there to join us on the 50th if we make it. You know, but. So it's sad. You know, it's the end of an era. It's just, he's got a great shop in London. He's had for the London for many, many, many years. I'm glad to hear his daughter is going to continue the business. So that's good for the fans. So our deepest condolences.
One other thing about Chris was his knowledge of Elvis was incredible.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah, he had, when it came to the concert stuff, the studio stuff, the releases, he collected everything. And the one thing I remember he collected a lot was RCA stuff. But I remember the one dealer, Rocky, he would always have something from RCA, and he would say to me before the show, he'd say, Chris is going to buy this. And I said, yeah, he probably will. And sure enough, Chris bought a lot of, you know, Nipper stuff, RCA Nipper, you know. So he did, yeah, he was a great guy, and he was in a pretty important part in collecting Elvis. So my condolences goes out to his family and all his friends as well. I just can't help but get emotional on these shows now. You know, it's just, you know, life goes on. You get older, and when things change, it's sometimes not for the better. You just, it's life, right?
I lost my cat, Elvis, 4 months ago, and a lot of people made comments and offered their condolences. So I just wanted to say thanks to those people.
And of course, when you named him Elvis, that was no surprise.
Well, it was spur of the moment. I took him to the vet when I got him, you know, to check it out to see if I keep it. And they say, "What's his name?" And I hadn't even thought of a name.
Yeah.
You know, I was just there because they wanted to put it in the computer and everything. So I said, Elvis. I'm a big Elvis fan, so I'm going to call him Elvis.
I never even asked you how that happened.
Yeah, that's how. It was just spur of the moment. Because I really, if I had known, if I ever get another cat, if it's a male, it's going to be Dexter. I'm going to name my cat Dexter.
Dexter.
Yeah, I'm going to name, you know, I would have named Elvis Dexter, but I just didn't think of it.
Tonight's the night.
She just hit me at that moment.
Okay, folks, please don't forget to check out this album. If you don't have it in your collection, your vinyl collection, I strongly suggest you get it. It's a great, great album. I mean, when you get it and you open it up and you see everything, I think Gravel Road has done another phenomenal job, and I'm really looking forward to the next album. So make sure you check it out. If you can get it, get it. I'm Robert Alaniz. This is
Jonny B.
And we're out of here. I'm out of here.
I'm out of here too.
Okay, so I guess we're both out of here.